Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Nuremberg, Germany. Does anyone under the sound of this puppet's voice elicit any emotion or response when those words are spoken? That, viewers, is a place far away and also a place where justice was served. After all the nightmares and torturous deaths served up by a militant madman and his psychotic co-conspirators, the International Military Tribunal held trials for as many remaining German Nationalist Party members as could still be found in the years that immediately followed the end of World War II. The tribunal went after four distinct crimes: crimes against peace, i.e. the planning, initiating, and waging of wars of aggression in violation of international treaties and agreements; crimes against humanity, i.e. exterminations, deportations, and genocide; war crimes, i.e. violations of the laws of war; and, quote, a common plan or conspiracy to commit, unquote, the criminal acts listed in the first three counts. And so, according to an agreement between France, Russia, Great Britain, and the United States of America signed on August 8, 1945, or otherwise called the London Agreement, the wheels were set in motion to serve justice to myriad criminals who had conducted some of the worst atrocities upon humanity ever witnessed. Of particular interest, however, is that not one Japanese war criminal stood trial in those that took place at Nuremberg. Were they given special license to murder and torture that others were later to be convicted of? I will save that for another video entirely. And now, loyal viewers of this truth-telling puppet, it is time to propose that an all-new set of Nuremberg trials begin anew. The filthy crimes and horrendous atrocities of the past 16 years demand that those perpetrators of ungodly crimes against millions of American citizens be held accountable, and the people who were victimized, along with the souls of those who did not make it through their filthy brand of latter-day concentration camp internments. The cries of their suffering demand better. It must be, it needs to be, it has to be done. Allow the modern Nuremberg trials to commence. First up, well, that would be none other than Barry Soetoro, of course. While it appears to be against the ruling of the U.S. Supreme Court that a person can be tried or convicted or actions conducted while the person served in the role of President of the United States of America, it also needs to be noted that Barry never should have constitutionally been permitted to serve in the highest government in the land, and so never legally was president. As such, he will be held fully accountable for atrocities he committed against the people of the United States of America. Crimes he committed? Birth certificate fraud, completely proven, and considering that Kenya, his country of birth, is rife with fake birth certificates. In fact, it is actually the accepted norm in Kenya that a birth certificate will be fake. One can also look over the widely published fake Hawaiian birth certificate and see numerous amateurish errors. Other crimes he committed? Try the planned execution of Americans at Benghazi, Libya, and co-conspiracy with Hillary Rodham to cover these crimes up. Additionally, his collusion with Hillary Rodham and former CIA Director John Brennan to fix the 2016 general election was caught on video and is widely proven. Finally, his crime of running the Biden regime from behind the scenes is illegal in that it was effectively a third, albeit also illicit, presidential term for Barry. His sentence? This puppet believes it should be in the neighborhood of 10 years in the Leavenworth Correctional Facility. Next to be tried at the modern Nuremberg? Why, that has to be Felon Joe himself. Show this piece of trash no mercy, as he put all of us through four of the most miserable years over the 2-year century of this once great nation. No, viewers, this will not be merely for running a miserable example of a presidency. Rather, it will be for those actual criminal acts he committed, and those are numerous and widespread. Try money laundering? Yes, it had been proven that he and his family's cartel took in more than $6 million from such enemy states of America as Russia, China, and Ukraine, among others. Then they laundered the funds through multiple Shell LLC bank accounts, with payments even being sent to the felon-in-chief's grandchildren. In fact, viewers, this is the most sickening racketeer this nation has seen since the infamous reign of Al Capone in Chicago during the 1930s. Among other crimes committed, try blackmail, as he has been widely viewed by millions now in the infamous video of then Vice President Felon Joe demanding Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky fire then federal prosecutor Viktor Shoikin, or else they would not receive $400 million in Pentagon and State Department military assistance for Ukraine. Interestingly enough, Shoikin at that time was in fact investigating the Biden crime family and their illicit ties to Ukrainian gas company Burisma and their $3 million in pay-for-play bribes to the vice president's crime cartel. Also of note is that Zelensky fired Viktor Shoikin later that day and went on to receive the $400 million in U.S. aid. His sentence should be nothing less than life at Rikers Island Correctional Facility. Next on the tribunal list of criminals to try, James Biden. He's a top-ranking officer in the cartel and helped orchestrate the intricate money laundering scheme and creation of numerous LLC shell companies. The RICO Act was put in place specifically for his type of crimes. Minimum sentence, 10 years for the cartel boss at Colorado Maximum Security Federal Penitentiary. Onward ho! Needed for accountability and justice would be none other than Hillary Rodham, the murderer of 4 Americans in Benghazi, Libya, the mastermind of presidential money laundering schemes under the Clinton Foundation and Whitewater, the queen of election interferers in both 2016 and 2020, the destructor of massive amounts of incriminating evidence on federal email servers and cell phones. Teflon up until now, Hillary needs a minimum sentence of 15 years in the West Virginia Federal Women's Prison where Martha Stewart was incarcerated. And next, John Brennan, former CIA director under Sotero, for his role in the federal election interference in 2016. His sentence should be at least 10 years minimum at Atlanta, Georgia Federal Correctional Center. After Brennan, it makes sense to try and sentence 51 former CIA agents who perjured and helped rig the 2020 presidential election, each of them lying about the factuality of the now infamous Hunter Biden laptop from hell. Each of them needs 8 years minimum for felonies they committed and the damage it cost the United States and its citizens. And now we get to the nasty Pelosi, the former Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives who abused the powers to hijack the Congress and run massive unfounded show trials based on no evidence whatsoever, and habitually perjured under oath. 3 attempted impeachments against then-President Donald Trump that held zero merit whatsoever. Pelosi is about the main instigator of the January 6th hostage-taking, and all those hostages need released immediately. This egregious abuse of power demands nothing less than 8 years for the former D.C. bureaucrat. Next up, the new Nuremberg tribunal. Well, that would be none other than Adam Shifty. Remember his perjuring felon for his lies told and lack of evidence in the 3 attempted show impeachments of Trump? Nothing less than political hit jobs. Sentence Shifty to 10 years minimum of hard time at Folsom Correction Facility in California for all crimes he shamelessly committed. And who should we try next at Nuremberg? Let us start with Merrick Garland. This clown knew full well the crimes and felonies committed by the Biden crime cartel and did zero in the way of prosecuting any of it. During his watch, cocaine was found in the White House, and that incident was quickly swept under the rug. He knew fully well about the bribe-taking, money laundering, and racketeering of the Biden crime cartel and chose to look the other way. So many sickening crimes happened under Garland's reign of terror over the American people, including the weaponization of the courts and criminal legal prosecutors in Banana Republic show trials against their chief political rival, one Donald Trump. This despicable waste of space should get nothing less than 15 consecutive years in the Terre Haute, Indiana Maximum Security Federal Penitentiary where Timothy McVeigh was incarcerated. Who else, viewers? Why, that would be Christopher Wray. Yes, the misdirector of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. What a clown. This felon sat on the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, pressing absolutely no charges, all while his department went to Mar-a-Lago and went through Melania Trump's panty drawer. This piece of trash needs nothing less than 20 years for felonies committed against the United States of America. Alvin Bragg needs to be next. This New York City prosecutor sat by and allowed street mobs to pillage stores and shops unimpeded, all while making up show trial charges against the Biden crime cartel's chief rival. You cannot make up the crimes committed by felon Bragg. Give him at least 12 years in Rikers Island Correctional Facility within his own city. After Bragg, bring up fellow New Yorker Letitia James. This piece of trash campaigned on nothing more than get Trump rhetoric, and then she made up charges in order to fulfill her campaign promises. Show me the person, I will make up a crime, and her modus operandi. Put this waste of space in Leavenworth Correctional Facility for nothing less than 20 years at this point in time. The last of the New York crime syndicate must be brought before the tribunal next, and that, of course, would be Wani Mershon. What crimes did Wani commit? Well, that would start with running a kangaroo court, and even with instructing a jury to commit unconstitutional crimes against an American citizen. Yes, Wani told the jury in his made-up charge court mistrials that if they could find Donald Trump guilty of at least one of 32 fraudulent charges, they could go ahead and rule him guilty of all 32 of little Wani's fraudulent, made-up BS. And so the American system of justice was turned into the exact same one they currently run in Bogota, Colombia. For the felonies he committed, please give little Wani 10 years minimum hard time at the Colorado maximum security federal prison where El Chapo is now serving. Next up before the new Nuremberg tribunal panel, well, that should be none other than one Fannie Willis, another, quote, African-American piece of the Merrick Garland lawfare machine. Willis should get nothing less than 10 years in Atlanta Federal Correction Facility for crimes committed against the people of the United States of America, including the embezzlement of government funds for trips to Aruba. And then, folks, we bring up Mark Zuckerberg. Yes, he has been kissing a whole lot of Trump rear end of late and going on Joe Rogan claiming to be the victim of Biden crime cartel. We're not buying any of that for a single minute. This felon outright colluded with known felons to quash the constitutionally guaranteed free speech of millions of Americans and also did everything within his powers to assist in the rigging of the 2020 presidential election. Give this asshat clown no less than 5 years for crimes committed against the U.S., its citizens, and its Constitution. Onward, next we have Sundar Pichai, the filthy criminal in charge of YouTube. This psychopath has done everything within his powers to censor every bit of truth over the past 8 years. That he makes the Nazi SS look tame by comparison. Give this felon 10 years minimum in Terre Haute, Indiana Federal Penitentiary for crimes he has knowingly and willingly foisted upon America and its citizens. And lastly, we have Jack Dorsey, the founder and former leader of Twitter, now known as X, one of the most egregious censors of constitutionally guaranteed free speech in American history. Thankfully, Elon Musk came along, took X away from this felon, and righted many of his crimes. For the crimes Dorsey willfully committed against all America in hiding then truth of Hunter Biden laptop from hell and rigging of the 2020 presidential election, he needs nothing less than 15 years in San Quentin Correctional Facility. Now, my loyal viewers, you are probably asking, how could I have left one Hunter Biden off of this list? Well, you see, Daddy came along to protect his baby. Since Hunter has now been pardoned, going all the way back to 2014, the real ability to convicting him is virtually gone, at least for now, it appears. Maybe the new Nuremberg tribunal could go right that wrong also. Good night, my viewers, and sleep well.